History often remembers kings, conquerors, and mighty warriors. Their names fill the pages of ancient records, while countless others have been forgotten with time. Yet among these stories stands the remarkable account of a woman who led an entire nation during one of its darkest periods, not from a royal palace, nor from the battlefield, but beneath the shade of a single palm tree. Her name was Deborah. She was neither a queen nor the wife of a powerful ruler. She commanded no permanent army, owned no throne, and inherited no kingdom. Yet when the people of Israel faced oppression, uncertainty, and fear, they turned to her for wisdom, justice, and hope. Her story is recorded in chapters 4 and 5 of the book of Judges. Although the biblical account is relatively brief, it introduces one of the most extraordinary female leaders in the ancient world, a prophetess, a judge, and a woman whose faith would ultimately change the course of Israel's history. But before we can understand Deborah, we must first understand the world she lived in. The events of Deborah's life took place during what historians call the period of the Judges, roughly between the late 13th and early 12th centuries BC. It was a turbulent era following the death of Joshua, the successor of Moses. The Israelites had entered the Promised Land, but they were far from becoming a united nation. There was no king, there was no capital city, there was no centralized government. Instead, the 12 tribes of Israel lived independently, scattered across hills, valleys, forests, and fertile plains. Each tribe was responsible for its own survival, and cooperation between them was often difficult. In times of peace, this loose tribal system worked reasonably well, but when enemies invaded, unity became much harder to achieve. The book of Judges describes a repeating cycle. The people would abandon God and adopt the customs and religions of the surrounding nations. As a consequence, neighboring kingdoms would overpower them. Years of oppression would follow until the Israelites cried out for help. God would then raise up a judge, a leader chosen to rescue the nation and restore peace. This pattern appears again and again throughout the book. Deborah emerged during one of these moments of crisis. Unlike modern judges, the judges of ancient Israel were far more than legal officials. They settled disputes, advised tribal leaders, inspired the people spiritually, and, when necessary, led military campaigns against foreign oppressors. Some were experienced warriors. Others were charismatic leaders. Deborah was unique because she combined several extraordinary roles. She was a judge, she was a prophetess, and she became the national leader of Israel. Most remarkably, she is the only woman in the Bible who is explicitly identified as serving as a judge over the entire nation. The Bible introduces her with surprising simplicity. Now Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidat, was judging Israel at that time. There is no dramatic story describing how she received her position, no elaborate introduction, no explanation why the people accepted her authority. The biblical writer simply assumes that Deborah's reputation already speaks for itself. That silence tells us something important. Her authority was not built on political power or military strength. It had been earned with wisdom, integrity, and the trust of the people. Every day, Deborah would sit beneath a palm tree in the hill country of Ephraim, between the towns of Ramah and Bethel. This place became known as the Palm of Deborah. People traveled from across Israel to seek her judgment. Imagine the scene. Farmers arguing over land, families seeking justice, tribal elders asking for counsel, ordinary people hoping someone would help settle disputes fairly. There, beneath the shade of a tree rather than inside a royal courtroom, Deborah listened, decided, and guided. The image is striking. While powerful kings ruled from fortified palaces across the ancient Near East, Israel's highest authority sat beneath a palm tree. It reflected a very different kind of leadership, one based not on wealth or intimidation, but on wisdom and trust. Despite Deborah's leadership, Israel's situation was becoming increasingly desperate. The nation had been suffering under the rule of King Jabin of Hazor. Hazor was one of the largest and most influential Canaanite cities of its time. Archaeological excavations have revealed that it covered nearly 200 acres, making it one of the most significant urban centers in the region. But Jabin's greatest strength was not the city itself, it was his military commander. His name was Sisera. Sisera commanded an army equipped with 900 iron chariots. Today, a chariot may not sound particularly intimidating, but nearly 3,000 years ago, iron chariots represented cutting-edge military technology. They were fast, they were powerful, they could sweep across open battlefields, breaking enemy formations and striking fear into lightly armed infantry. For Israel's tribal fighters, facing such weapons was almost unthinkable. The Bible tells us that the Canaanites cruelly oppressed Israel for 20 years. 20 years! An entire generation had grown up knowing nothing except fear. Villages became isolated, travel grew dangerous, hope slowly disappeared. Many Israelites must have wondered whether freedom would ever return. Yet history often changes in unexpected ways, and soon, beneath the quiet shade of that palm tree, Deborah would receive a message that would transform not only her own life, but the future of an entire nation. For 20 long years, Israel had lived under the shadow of Canaanite oppression. King Jabin ruled from the fortified city of Hazor, but it was his commander, Sisera, who embodied the people's greatest fear. With an army supported by 900 iron chariots, he appeared almost invincible. Few would have dared to challenge such a force. Yet Deborah believed the time of waiting had come to an end. One day, she sent for a man named Barak, the son of Abinoam, from the city of Kadesh in the territory of Naphtali. Barak was known as a capable military leader, but what happened next would reveal that even the bravest warriors can struggle with doubt. When Barak arrived, Deborah delivered a message she declared came directly from God. "The Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, go, take with you 10,000 men from the tribes of Naphtali and Zebulun, and lead them to Mount Tabor. I will draw Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River, and I will give him into your hands." This was no ordinary military strategy. Mount Tabor rose prominently above the surrounding plains, offering a natural defensive position. Sisera's greatest advantage, his iron chariots, was most effective on flat, open ground. Fighting from higher terrain could reduce that advantage dramatically. Still, the mission seemed almost impossible. 10,000 lightly armed Israelites against one of the strongest armies in Canaan. Barak's response has fascinated readers for centuries. He answered Deborah, "If you go with me, I will go, but if you don't go with me, I won't go." Some interpret his words as fear. Others see them as an expression of faith in Deborah's prophetic authority. Whatever his motivation, Barak understood that Deborah's presence represented more than moral support. She symbolized God's guidance. Deborah agreed to accompany him, but she also gave Barak an unexpected prophecy. "I will certainly go with you," she said, "but because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman." At that moment, Barak may have assumed Deborah herself would receive the glory. Neither of them could have imagined how those words would ultimately be fulfilled. Barak gathered 10,000 men from the tribes of Naphtali and Zebulun, just as Deborah had instructed. Together, they marched toward Mount Tabor. Meanwhile, news of their movements reached Sisera. Confident in the superiority of his army, Sisera assembled his full force and advanced with all 900 iron chariots toward the Kishon River. From a military perspective, the outcome seemed obvious. The Canaanites possessed better equipment, greater experience, and overwhelming technological superiority. Yet ancient battles were often decided by factors no commander could control. The biblical account describes the battle in only a few verses, but the Song of Deborah, recorded in Judges chapter 5, offers intriguing clues. It says that the stars fought from heaven and that the Kishon River swept the enemy away. These poetic lines have led many historians and biblical scholars to suggest that a sudden storm may have changed the course of the battle. The Jezreel Valley, where these events likely took place, is known for seasonal downpours. A heavy rain could quickly transform dry ground into deep mud. If that happened, Sisera's greatest military advantage would have become his greatest weakness. Iron chariots depended on firm, open terrain. In thick mud, they became slow, unstable, and nearly useless. What had once inspired fear now trapped the Canaanite army. Whether through extraordinary weather or another series of events, the biblical text presents the victory as God's intervention. Panic spread through Sisera's forces. The Israelite warriors charged down from Mount Tabor. The Canaanite army collapsed. The once feared commander watched his soldiers fall around him. Realizing the battle was lost, Sisera abandoned his chariot. For a commander whose reputation had been built on military strength, leaving behind his chariot was an act of desperation. He fled on foot. While Barak pursued the defeated army, Sisera ran north in search of safety. Eventually, he arrived at the tent of a woman named Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. At first glance, this seemed like the perfect refuge. The Kenites were not enemies of King Jabin. In fact, there were peaceful relations between Heber's household and the Canaanite king. Sisera likely believed no one would think to look for him there. Exhausted from battle, he asked Jael for water. Instead, she offered him milk, a gesture often associated with hospitality and care in the ancient Near East. She covered him with a blanket and assured him that he was safe. Feeling protected, Sisera finally allowed himself to rest. For the first time that day, the great commander closed his eyes. He had no idea that Deborah's prophecy was about to be fulfilled. As Sisera lay asleep inside Jael's tent, he believed he had finally escaped. The battlefield was behind him. His soldiers had been scattered. His mighty chariot had been abandoned. Now, exhausted and vulnerable, he rested under the protection of a household he believed to be friendly. But history was about to take an unexpected turn. The Bible tells us that Jael quietly approached the sleeping commander. In her hand, she carried a tent peg and a hammer, ordinary tools used every day to secure the tents of nomadic families. Then, in a single decisive moment, she drove the tent peg through Sisera's temple and into the ground beneath him. The commander who had terrorized Israel for 20 years died not on the battlefield, but alone inside a tent. Soon afterward, Barak arrived in pursuit of Sisera. Jael went out to meet him and simply said, "Come, and I will show you the man you are looking for." There lay Sisera, lifeless on the ground. At that moment, Deborah's prophecy was fulfilled. The honor of ending Israel's greatest military threat did not belong to Barak. It belonged to a woman. The defeat of Sisera marked the beginning of the end for King Jabin's rule. The Book of Judges explains that Israel grew stronger and stronger until Jabin himself was finally defeated. For the first time in 2 decades, the people were free. But Deborah understood that victories should not simply be remembered, they should be celebrated and passed on to future generations. In Judges chapter 5, Deborah and Barak sang what is now known as the Song of Deborah. Many biblical scholars consider it one of the oldest surviving poems in the entire Bible. Some even believe its language preserves traditions that date very close to the events themselves. The song is more than a celebration of military success. It is a reflection on courage, leadership, faith, and the willingness of ordinary people to answer an extraordinary calling. Deborah praises the tribes that responded to the call for battle. She also mentions those who chose to remain behind, highlighting that moments of crisis often reveal the true character of individuals and communities. One of the most memorable lines honors Jael. "Most blessed of women be Jael." Her actions remain among the most debated episodes in Scripture. Some readers admire her courage, others struggle with the violence of her decision. The Bible itself does not pause to analyze her motives in detail. Instead, it presents her as the unexpected instrument through whom Deborah's prophecy came true. Deborah herself remains one of the most remarkable leaders in biblical history. Unlike many famous figures of the ancient world, she sought neither a throne nor personal glory. She never established a royal dynasty. She never claimed the title of queen. Instead, she led through wisdom, discernment, and unwavering faith. Her leadership also challenges many assumptions of the ancient world. While women in the Near East could hold positions of influence within royal families or religious institutions, it was exceedingly rare for a woman to be recognized as the national leader of an entire people. Yet the biblical narrative introduces Deborah without apology or explanation. It simply presents her as the leader Israel needed. Interestingly, her name means bee. Some scholars suggest that the symbolism is fitting. Bees are small creatures, yet they work with remarkable organization, persistence, and purpose. Whether intentional or not, the image reflects Deborah's quiet but powerful influence. Modern archaeology has also shed light on the world she inhabited. Excavations at Hazor reveal a city of immense size and importance during the Late Bronze Age, supporting the biblical description of its significance. The Kishon River and the Jezreel Valley remain real geographical locations today, and seasonal flooding is well documented in the region. While archaeology cannot confirm every detail of the battle, it provides valuable context for understanding how natural conditions may have affected ancient warfare. For historians, Deborah's account stands at the fascinating intersection of history, literature, and faith. For believers, it is a testimony to God's guidance during a time of national crisis. For many readers, regardless of their beliefs, it is the story of an extraordinary woman whose wisdom inspired a nation to rise again. After Deborah's victory, the Bible records a simple but powerful statement. Then the land had peace for 40 years. 40 years. An entire generation grew up without the oppression that had once defined their lives. It is a fitting conclusion to a remarkable story. Deborah never sought fame. She never commanded history's largest army. She never ruled from a magnificent palace. Yet centuries later, her name is still remembered. Not because of wealth, not because of power, but because when fear paralyzed a nation, she chose courage. When others hesitated, she trusted. And when Israel needed a leader, she answered the call. That may be why Deborah's story continues to resonate today. It reminds us that true leadership is not measured by titles, status, or force. It is measured by wisdom, integrity, and the willingness to act when others remain silent. And perhaps that is why, thousands of years later, the woman beneath the palm tree is still remembered as one of the greatest leaders in the Bible. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into biblical history, consider subscribing for more stories about the remarkable women of the Bible and the world they lived in.